Hey, baby. You need help getting back to sleep? How about Papa tells you a swagger story, eh? I'll tell you the story of the greatest raid damage ever done, of the Phase 3 and Phase 4 solo with one team. That's right, over 70 million damage. I took down Traya in Phase 3, Nihilus in Phase 4, Sion in Phase 4, and finally, Traya in Phase 4 with full auto. Yeah, how do you like that? Hey, wake up. You gotta hear the story. Greetings, gamers. I'm Sir Georges, and I got over 70 million damage from this one team in the Heroic Sith Raid. Complete solo of Phase 3 and a complete solo of all of Phase 4 just with this one team, over 70 million damage. Now the Zetas you're going to want is the leadership on Talzin, the unique on Asajj, and the unique on Daka. I'm going to go over the modding for those that care about that just briefly, and if you want specifics you can pause it and look at the stats as I scroll through them. Talzin, I just wanted her to hit hard and with some potency to land some plagues, just for some extra turn meter gain. Then I switch over to Asajj. Her, you want to have a crit damage set. I didn't take off the potency when that was just from her PvP modding. I have a speed arrow, but I think an offense arrow would be better because you don't need her speed up very much. You see, I only have plus 87 right there. None of the stats are crazy on any of these characters. You don't have crazy speed, no crazy offense. This is attainable by the average player. Now what I do unique for this run is Daka, you want to mod with a lot of tenacity. Because that 100% tenacity paired with the bonus she gets for being a healer in the Heroic Sith Raid will give her enough tenacity that she should never get dazed in Phase 3 by the sabers. That's a big danger that can really mess you up. Asajj can recover okay because of her speed from getting dazed, but Daka won't be able to. Anakin, you want him to hit hard and have high health so that he can heal himself and be able to take a lot of hits from bonds of weakness, both in Phase 3 and Phase 4. Initiate, don't care about anything else except straight crit chance. You need to get that as high as possible. I have mine up to 84, 85. If I could get it higher, I would. So to start off, you need to throw in any tune that will die and eat the isolate without letting Traya take any additional turns after that. Sorry, Lando, you just have the perfect amount of health and protection to die quickly. I know this deal keeps getting worse all the time.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
So Lando is about to get isolated and then killed so that we go into it with Traya at 0 turn meter. So now we bring in our squad, and Traya has a 3 turn cooldown left on her isolate. Now at the start here, our whole goal is to get Initiate dead, and we need to topple Traya at the very least when she has 2 turns left to the isolate. So we're going to do debuffs getting resisted on Traya to try and increase the turn meter on our Nightsisters so that we can get as many bonds of weakness early on as possible. Use Initiate to attack sabers with Retribution in order to take more hits on her. So now right here, even though Initiate's not dead, we're going to do a topple. Because 2 turns to isolate is when you want to topple every time, so that when we come out, Traya has to wait a turn before she can use her isolate again. You also want to kill as many sabers as possible before setting your run on auto basic when we get going, because each saber death gives 10 tenacity to Traya. If you've tried to run this team and have failed, it's likely because you're not getting the debuffs resisted on Traya because she doesn't have enough tenacity yet. Okay, good. So we just got we just got Initiate killed. We're all set up. Anakin AoE kills them all. Another good reason why he's R7. So now, whenever Traya does finally come out, she'll have Isolate ready. But we've had 2 topples, so that's plus 60% tenacity for her. So most of the time, both our Initiate and Anakin should be resisted. Now let me explain how the loop here works, how this cycle gets going, and why we can just hit auto basic. Daka and Asajj both gain turn meter when an ally dies. You want to mix this with the turn meter you gain from Talzin's leadership when an enemy resists a debuff. So when Daka takes a turn, it makes a revive, she gets 50% turn meter. When Asajj takes a turn, she does a revive, 50% turn meter, so that Daka can immediately take another one. But now Asajj only gains 35% turn meter from a revive. So between their 2 turns, Daka and Asajj, they revive 2 times Initiate. Asajj is only getting 70% turn meter. Now to fill in that 30% turn meter gap, that's where these resists come in. So within a loop, within a cycle, you've got 8 potential debuffs getting resisted by Traya. You've got Revived, Initiate, Critical Hit for 2 debuffs. Then you have an 80% chance for 2 different debuffs from Anakin's basic. So let's say Daka takes a turn, revives Initiate, 2 potential debuffs. Anakin immediately goes, 2 potential debuffs. Then, when Asajj takes a turn, she brings Initiate, Anakin takes a turn, another 2 and another 2. Out of those 8 debuffs, we need 6 of them to be resisted. Because the 6 times 5% for Talzin's leadership will give us 30% turn meter additionally to Asajj's turn meter pool, so that both Daka will be hitting 100 easily, but Asajj, from the 2 revives, will hit 70, and all those debuffs resisted brings her to 100. That's why we want to increase the tenacity on Traya, and we want to make sure that the critical chance is high on Initiate, so that when Initiate spawns and does her basic, there's a good chance it'll be a critical hit, which allows for 2 debuffs resisted. Now within a cycle, it's very likely that you'll have 6 debuffs resisted. You'll see my Initiate almost always gets a critical hit. And the few times that we have bad RNG, where Anakin's 80% for health immunity and buff immunity doesn't happen, or one of them doesn't happen, then that's when hopefully the 4 from Initiate, and out of the potential 4 for Anakin, at least 2 of them are getting resisted. Now even with 2 topples and getting plus 60% tenacity on Traya, you can still see she does get some debuffs from Anakin. It's hard to prevent that, even though my Anakin isn't modded for potency at all. Now let's skip ahead. If you get to the point where it looks like you're going to come out of this topple, you want to stand alone with Talzin. Talzin standing alone, she'll eat the Isolate. It won't mess up your turn meter loop because it's not dependent upon her. Then you just get another topple, and you can get a potential 3 or 4 topples out of this without any risk of messing up the loop or dying if you follow this key rules. So now we're here at the end of Phase 3. We want to finish it with an AoE move from Asajj, the special, because we don't want Initiate to get revived. So we can see Asajj is doing about 1.5% from her basic, a little more, and her special is going to do the same amount of damage. So you want to time it here so that there won't be any danger of her accidentally not killing Traya. Okay, so we just looked at the damage. She's doing over 1.5%. So because there's less than that left, her AoE should be enough to kill Traya. Very good. Now we're all set with Initiate already dead going into Phase 4. Now in Phase 4, the strategy is going to be largely the same, except we need to have a specific kill order focusing on Nihilus, Sion, then Traya. And the additional trouble is that they will be gaining turn meter, unlike Traya in Phase 3, who just stays with her speed and we can get this loop going. Every hit is going to give 5% turn meter and speed to Nihilus, and 5% turn meter to Sion. Here in Phase 4, we're going to get the turn meter loop cycle going again. We're just going to target down Nihilus. We're going to use Anakin to kill the sides, because you don't want the damage from Daka's basic to accidentally kill one of them and bring back Initiate. So Nihilus is going to be constantly gaining turn meter, but because our cycle has Daka and Asajj getting 100% turn meter at the same time, there's going to be a coin flip once Nihilus reaches max turn meter, and it'll be either him or our tune that goes first. And sometimes you can have good RNG where you can take a lot of turns instead of Nihilus. Like right here. Okay, now you want to use Soothe as often as you can, because we've got a few dangers while in this phase. So the first danger that I'm going to remind you now, because it's easy to forget and we'll have to remind you of it later too, is that Traya's first turn will be an isolate. Once we get going and we just keep focusing down Nihilus without letting the other tunes take turn meter, and Nihilus is only getting turn meter because of the speed and repeated hits, we'll be at 8 or 9 turns to enrage before Traya takes her first turn. We'll completely forget she's there, and she'll isolate Anakin or Talzin with low health and kill them. The other danger is Anakin can't be healed from Asajj's heal and can't be revived consistently from Daka if he dies. So we've got to keep his survival a key priority. Then the other thing we needed to keep track of is Nihilus's AoE taking away 30%. So it doesn't matter how much health you've got stacked on Daka, because that 30% will get you. And we've got to look out for the eventual annihilate that will happen from Nihilus. Now there's a trick that I like to call the Talzin Change-Up. So our cycle is from Daka, Asajj, and Anakin. Talzin's just there. But she's going to be instrumental when we use her effectively, because she gets a bonus turn that doesn't, we don't need it to happen for our loop. So she doesn't have to use her basic. So we can use her to soothe or give the opportunity for Asajj to do a heal for the team. So right now, you can see that Talzin and Asajj are both at max turn meter. I can soothe here to get rid of the bonds of weakness, or if Asajj was the first person to take a turn instead of Daka, or instead of Talzin, Asajj could use her heal move to heal the Nightsisters, but the loop would continue because Talzin will take her turn immediately, and then you'll use her basic, which will get the resisted debuffs. Anakin takes a turn. The death from the revive allows them to take turn meter for Daka and Asajj. So, let's see. Let's wait for a good opportunity for that to happen. So right now, let's do a basic with Asajj. Okay, I was scared for their survivability. A lot of these tips I learned while playing through this first run. This is the first time I ever did it, and so I don't do everything I tell you to practice. Okay, see, right now is a really good opportunity for a soothe. What we really want is for that situation to happen, except for Asajj to be able to heal. Now notice, keep an eye on Traya's turn meter. She's halfway there, and then her first move is going to be an isolate. Now the way you're going to want to play with each of these characters is that Talzin is there for the Talzin Change-Up. Use her to soothe often as you can so that Anakin doesn't take too much damage. He can stay high on his health, and use her as a basic so that Asajj can heal Daka, Talzin, and herself, so that whenever Nihilus does his force drain, Daka won't die. The way you want to play with Asajj, just do basics, rack up that damage, while also the occasional heal. Anakin is all about survival. Don't use his AoE because you won't get resisted debuffs, and make sure you keep him alive. It's too hard to revive him consistently. Don't target Sion with him because the stacks of pain will cause him to get countered and can hurt his health pool. With Daka, just do her basics, just keep this cycle going, except when Nihilus is about to use an AoE. At that point, maybe then do some attacks on Sion to avoid having debuffs on your characters to delay the annihilate. Okay, so we've got 2 turns left to annihilate, 9 turns left to enrage. Traya still has not taken a turn yet. Let's fast forward a little bit. So we're doing pretty good on keeping them all healthy, keeping the survivability up. Talzin will be your biggest threat of dying. If you can get a plague on one of them and have it spread between the 2 of them, it'll happen occasionally whenever you are soothing and it's the first turn and Nihilus doesn't have stacked tenacity yet. That's okay. It can actually be helpful because when Talzin hits 2 of them with her basic, she'll get a lot more health steal out of it. So now, only 8 turns left to Nihilus's Enrage, and we're at 64%. Now here we need to think about who is going to eat the isolate from Traya. Talzin is a good candidate, but so is Anakin. Anakin might not seem like a good candidate, but he can cleanse the isolate off of himself. So I'm going to cleanse the bonds of weaknesses, try and heal Talzin. Okay, see, I played that poorly, so I'm going to have to get lucky here to bring Talzin back. See, that was just luck. Now the goal is going to be getting Isolate off of Anakin. And then give him opportunity to heal back up. Thankfully, as soon as we can get our loop going, he'll still get a bonus turn. Isolate stops him from getting bonus turn meter, but it doesn't keep him from getting a bonus turn. So he can quickly remove it off himself and then start healing up with his health steal. Okay, now we've only got 5 turns left to enrage, 50% left on Nihilus. The next thing we're going to see, and this is right there, this is a great move when we can get Unbreakable Will on Talzin. I should have done this sooner. Instead of having Anakin use Unbreakable Will, use it on Talzin, because this is a secret weapon with Talzin Unbreakable Will. Because she's going to take all the hits. She might not even take another turn the rest of the run. And now Anakin can target Sion without fear of being countered, because all the counters will go back to Talzin. Now we've got 2 turns until Nihilus' next AoE, which means he'll only do basics, which will only target Talzin with Unbreakable Will, so it doesn't matter how low everybody else's health is. Which is why we can just put auto basic again and have them wail away on Nihilus until his AoE is ready. Look at that. Just in the span of 2 short turns, 50% turn meter done. Or 50% health taken off of Nihilus. With time to spare before he hits Enrage. Now we get him down, and the strategy's a little different when fighting Sion. So now we've got it down to just Sion. We've got a lot of bonds of weakness, and we've got a very low health on everybody. Sion's about to do his AoE. Now we don't want to risk him doing that, so we're going to stop our loop and use Daka's revive here in order to give everybody full health and bring Initiate back. But that's okay, because even though Initiate is coming back to life, because of all these bonds of weaknesses, Initiate is going to quickly lose her health again, but the rest of our toon's health pools are much higher and will be able to stay high. So because Anakin and Talzin and Asajj were already alive when Daka revived, they all got full health. Initiate only revives with, I think, 50% health, whatever it is in Daka's kit. For the other toons, they all get a heal over time, so that they should stay alive and survive this AoE, but Initiate shouldn't. So we take a turn. The bonds of weakness are really strong, so even Talzin is going to lose a lot of her health. But because of Unbreakable Will, it's impossible for Talzin to die. Daka's probably got 1,000,000 health by now. Asajj as well, multiple 100,000s. And Anakin started off with 70 or 80,000 health. He can survive a lot easier. So now that we just got rid of that AoE, again, we don't have to worry about counters. We don't have to worry about the single target moves. So we can just auto basic Sion until his next AoE is ready. And we're going to repeat this cycle. So that next time Sion has his AoE ready, we're going to revive with Daka. And let Initiate get health whittled down from all the bonds of weakness. AoE kills Initiate, and then we keep going. Here we go, let's do it again. Let's have the AoE. Oh, we had bad luck. He only took 2 turns and chose not to kill. Okay, that was bad luck. But still, only 65% with 8 turns left. Now, one of the reasons why we wanted to wait until Nihilus was dead to go after Sion was because we want to rack up Asajj's damage so that she can still chew through Sion, even though he's got much higher defense. Okay, so now we've got Initiate dead again. That's good. Except we've got to use the Talzin Change-Up and keep everybody healthy and keep the Bonds of Weakness down again. And wait 4 more turns until Sion brings new characters on the sides so that we can get Unbreakable Will back on Talzin. You want to keep an Unbreakable Will on Talzin or have it available for her so that for when you get to Sion, because it's very crucial that you have it up versus Sion to keep Anakin alive. Like, see here, we've got to get rid of these Bonds of Weakness, but we aren't doing well with it. If you get in this case where Anakin's about to die and you don't have Bonds of Weakness, just go ahead and do the revive with Daka. It's too dangerous to have Anakin die and then, even after multiple attempts at trying to revive, have it fail. We need to cleanse the Bonds of Weaknesses again. Still having a tough time keeping our characters alive. Okay. Now, I'm not sure I should have cleansed the Bonds of Weaknesses because Sion is finally about to do his AoE, but we're going to need to do a heal with Daka in order to keep everyone alive. But that's not how I played it. I got really lucky there again by having Anakin come right back to life. Now I just need to get Initiate dead. And now I need Sion to bring back the side tunes so I can get Unbreakable Will back on Talzin without having her or Anakin die. It's really hard to keep Talzin alive at these times. I should probably do a revive here. Okay, so I did the mass assist. There we go. We got it all set back up. Now, all 3 of Daka, Asajj, and Anakin have Unbreakable Will already, which means this next one will go to Talzin. So now we can finally get our Unbreakable Will on Talzin and Auto Basic going again to hopefully chew through this final 20% turn meter. We AoE, use a couple basics. Okay, now we need to use the Unbreakable Will on Talzin again. Maybe do a revive here to keep everybody alive for this next AoE. Don't cleanse the Bonds of Weakness until Initiate is very low on health again. So now I could clear Bonds of Weakness with the Soothe. Okay, now, standalone. There we go. Now just a few more hits. Asajj is doing 3% now with her basics. So now we kill Sion. Now it's just down to Traya. Now get this. Traya's attacks are only single target. So because we've got this cycle going and Unbreakable Will on Talzin, there is 0 chance of any of our other tunes dying as long as Talzin doesn't take a turn. So we can auto basic through the rest of the run and not have to worry about it at all. What's also crazy Even though we've gone through this whole phase 4, killing Nihilus, then killing Sion, racking up Asajj's damage, it's still difficult to get enough damage on Traya before Traya hits Enrage. Phase 4 Traya is just ridiculous. Also take note of how many bonds of weakness we've got going. Now a few more hits. Here we go. Probably 2 more. One more hit just before Enrage, which even if you hit Enrage, it's not going to matter because Unbreakable Will stays on Talzin. It's still single target. Here we go. Booyah! Phase 3 and 4. Complete solo. We killed Traya, Nihilus Sion, and Traya again with one team, one run for a massive 71 million damage. Please share with me on my Discord or Twitter or in the comments whether you're able to get this going and able to get your own 70 million plus run. I love to hear other success stories, and any more questions you have, put them in the comments, and be on the lookout at surgygames.com where a textual guide for this solo will be for those that want a quick reference without having to pull up the video. I'm Sir Georges. God bless, and may the Force be with you.